January is a month where you're possibly setting new fitness goals and have decided to pay a little more attention to your health. But where do you begin? Should you take an online Zumba class or head to the spinning studio nearby? Do you actually need to run or do you need a weightlifting program? Hi, welcome to Fitness Forward. My name is Sonia Lulla and I'm connecting with you from the Midday newsroom. Today, we have celebrity fitness coach Shivoham on board. Shivoham is currently a trainer to Ranbir Kapoor, Jacqueline Fernandez and Sushmita Sen, among others. He was the first to bring CrossFit to India and he joins us today to tell you how you can identify your fitness goals and create the appropriate program. Hi Shivoham, welcome to Fitness Forward. It's really good to have you here today.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
I want to talk to you a little bit about goal setting and the issues that I encountered with it early on in my fitness journey. So I took to fitness because I was obese and I had to lose a lot of weight to come down to like a normal weight. So I took about 9 months to lose the weight, and I remember having a conversation with my trainer after that saying, I want to up my fitness game. And his response to me was, well, what do you want to do? And I remember really struggling to answer that question because I knew I had a weight issue before and I lost it, and now I couldn't identify what my next steps should be. Before I ask you, how people should identify their goals, can you speak to us about what the pillars of fitness are to begin with?
I would say the first and foremost pillar, and I've come across this very recently in talking to a few of my clients and people in general, and one word to define everything is psychological.
Okay.
So when I say psychological, it's basically everything about the mind. Again, when I say about the mind, I don't mean like it's all in your mind and all that kind of stuff, but setting a goal or wanting to be at a certain level, the idea originates in your mind. And where does it originate from? It originates from maybe Instagram today, of things that you see people doing, your friends doing something, or somebody has achieved something and you're like, oh, I want that. And then you're like, oh, but I want that too. Oh, but I want that too. And the last thing you know, it's become a whole bhel puri and you're again in the middle of nowhere. So everything starts off in the mind. You need to first identify realistically where you are and what is your priority. Yes, you can have bits and pieces of flexibility, strength, functional, cardio, core. You can have bits and pieces of it mixed into a program. But for you to be able to say, I want now to, because I'm seeing everybody do these things on a pull-up bar and all of that, I want to focus on only that. And then suddenly you start doing it, but you're like, arey, but I want that also. So you need to first identify what is it that you want. Where is it that you're already at? If you're somebody who cannot even do a single push-up or a pull-up, well, then that's a goal which is probably for the future. Let's work on baby steps. You have to work on mobility. You have to work on flexibility. You have to work on upper body strength, which might require machines, because in a machine you can still alter the weight. You're not really lifting. You can do a lat pull down, which is the same movement as a pull up, but in a pull up you're lifting your body weight. In a lat pull down you can still lift 10 kgs.
Yeah. So
slowly, steadily, and moving towards that goal step by step. So first, knowing that this is my priority. I want, like you said, you were obese and losing weight was your priority.
Yeah.
Lifting 100 kgs was not your priority. Doing a split or a pull-up was not a priority. It was losing weight. Now, once you've lost that weight, then what is your next priority? So people need to just sit down by themselves and keep social media aside, keep whatever is happening around them aside, and identify what is it that I want to do next. Let's move towards that. Let's accomplish that. Then we can start moving on to the next part.
I mean, of course, there are so many fitness forms that we have, whether that's Zumba, you speak about spinning, cycling, there are a variety of forms available. And if anyone says, I'm going to start working out today, someone might actually need to build strength, but they might take up a very cardio intensive routine. So what are the questions that someone needs to first ask themselves to arrive at whether I need a strength-based format or a cardio-based format?
So like you said, today fitness has become a buffet, and probably a bigger buffet than JW Marriott. I mean, I still remember when I go to JW Marriott, whenever I've gone there for a buffet, it takes me 4 rounds to make around that buffet, and I'll always start anyways with what I was going to start. So having too many choices confuses person.
Yeah.
If that person is not already clear. And I honestly speaking, in 2009, before I moved to India and started India's first CrossFit box, there was only weight training and probably yoga. There was, I think maybe spinning was there and aerobics. That was it. There was nothing else. There was no kettlebells. There was no animal flow. There was no calisthenics. There was no CrossFit. There was nothing. So it was very simple. Person went to the gym, did 10 minutes on the treadmill, 20 minutes on the treadmill,
Yeah.
did a little bit of stretching, did weight training,
Yeah.
probably finished off with some cardio and went home. Very simple.
Yeah.
It wasn't hectic, but today they want to lift tires, they want to do battle ropes, they want to play with kettlebells, they want to be able to do animal flow. I mean, it's become too much. When you look at fitness, like I said, there are a couple of, I don't know exactly, but we'll name them as we go on. So flexibility or mobility is number one priority.
Okay.
If your joints are not mobile, if you're not decently flexible, you will not be able to execute a certain movement. And when you do that with bad posture, with weight, you're only going to injure yourself. So first and foremost, you need to work on mobility. Now, when I say that, I don't mean spend the rest 1 year just doing mobility drills. No.
Yeah.
But make mobility a part of your training program, because that's your first priority. Your ankles, your knees, your hips, your back, your shoulders, they need to be mobile enough to do a proper push-up, a proper squat. Just get into the proper form to begin with. Now from there, basic strength is needed. A lot of people, I would say body weight training is not ideal. Like I said, if you've never done a push-up, for you to do a workout even with 10 push-ups is going to be a very big struggle. So you rather do a Smith machine bench press,
Yeah.
where it's just a 10 kg bar. It's nothing, but even though it's not a push-up, it's still mimicking the same muscles that you use in a push-up. You get the form right, you know how to keep your arms right, you know how to push the weight, you know how to breathe. Slowly, steadily, the body is very intelligent. When it is faced with a challenge, no matter how small, it knows that it needs to overcome the challenge, and then it adapts. So then 1 week you do 10 kgs, next week go to 15, then 20, then 25. Now you've reached pretty much like say half your body weight in bench press. Now you can start actually attempting a proper push-up because your form is good. So strength training is number one priority. People don't understand this, but it's not our joints, but it's the muscles that hold our joints together. It's our muscles. If our legs, quads are weak, our hamstrings are weak, our calves are weak, our glutes are weak, our knees are going to go and our hips are going to go for a toss. And that is not something that we want in the long run. So having conditioned muscles, I'm not saying strong muscles, I'm just saying conditioned muscles enough to stabilize the joint is very important. So strength training is very, very crucial. Apart from that, the more lean muscle mass you build, the healthier your body is going to be, because today muscle is actually regarded as the biggest organ in the body. All the major chemical reactions and everything's happening inside the muscle. So muscle is very much needed. Plus, having a good amount of lean muscle mass is also going to make sure that your metabolism is on a decent level. Because to make sure that your muscles are maintained, the body needs to work harder, which means your metabolic rate will actually be quite decent. People who have a metabolic issue generally have very low muscle quality or quantity, and that is why the problem arises. Now, strength is done. Then we have the cardio. Now, people get confused with what cardio is. Cardiovascular or cardio training basically means a regime, a routine which mainly targets your lungs and your heart. That's basically what makes up your cardiovascular system. If your lungs are strong, you're able to breathe properly, your heart is able to pump blood throughout the body and not go crazy on the heart rate, but be able to maintain and then at the same time recover pretty quickly. That is a cardio workout. Now, not necessarily you have to do cardio on a treadmill. This is the old school way of doing cardio. So cardio, the minute you say cardio, people think of walking, running, skipping, rowing, cycling. Fair enough. But cardio can also be achieved by doing weighted exercise. Take 4 or 5 exercises, couple them up together, make a nice circuit out of it. Do either interval training or do 15 to 20 reps. Keep the weight decently heavy so you don't have to take too much break. And that itself becomes a cardio movement. In that kind of a movement, when you're breathing properly, when you're breathing with the movement, you actually accelerate fat burn as well. Because 80% of fat leaves the body as carbon dioxide. That is why when we tell people do steady state cardio, we tell them do steady state cardio because you are breathing.
Yeah.
When you breathe, when you take in oxygen, fat needs oxygen to burn. So if you're doing a circuit training all the time it's heavy intensity, high intensity, you're not optimizing the breath. The breath is very important. So that's why you do steady state cardio. So when you do a weighted workout or a weighted circuit, you're not going no, you're still going 15 reps, but at a very decent pace using the breath. So you're still getting a cardiovascular workout, but at the same time, you're also burning more fat at the same time. Because a high intensity workout will burn energy, but the energy is not necessarily translating to fat.
Yeah.
It's just energy.
Yeah.
What you've consumed is what you're burning. What you consumed can also be used to make muscle.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful where you're doing it. So we've got mobility, we've got strength, we've got cardio, and now, of course, the last bit is the cooling down. The cooling down, a new research has come out that stretching after a high intensity strength workout is not optimal. I could be wrong, but you could listen to me and probably feel it. When you are working out, the muscles are already warm, they're already stretched out. What is the point of stretching? If your goal is to reduce lactic acid, you want to calm the body down. You don't necessarily want to stretch. In fact, if your body is already warm, you're already fired up, your neurons are already crazy, and now you're going to go and start doing crazy stretches, chances are that you might actually injure yourself and not feel it.
Okay.
Because your body is warm. When it cools down, that's where you will feel the injury. Instead, sit down for 5 minutes and actually breathe. Nice deep breaths, diaphragmatic breathing, breathe through the stomach. People have forgotten how to breathe through the diaphragm. Diaphragmatic breathing will, because sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system is basically what we're doing in the gym, about body's all fired up, nervous system's all fired up. Parasympathetic nervous system is what relaxes that. Breathing is the only way you can do it. So you breathe, you relax the body, get the heart rate back down, lactic acid and everything automatically starts flowing out through the muscles, out of the muscles, and you're calm. Get up and leave. Then during the day, if you want to spend 5-10 minutes doing foam rolling or doing some stretching, when your body is nice and cool, then do it. So I would say mobility to begin. Mobility is more dynamic stretching, where you're doing a stretching but while moving, so moving the joints, strength, cardio, and your cool down. And of course the core comes in there as well. So you finish off maybe with 5 minutes of core work, some planks, some sit-ups, some leg raises. But I feel these 5 would literally make it a complete and holistic program, not only for a beginner, but even for a person of an elite level to have in their training.
Okay, so you would recommend someone follows this every day? You don't recommend them to break their workouts out into weight and...
See, people feel you need an hour and a half. Now, who needs an hour and a half? Somebody who's actually bodybuilding and going for a competition. The average person firstly doesn't have that kind of time, and the average person doesn't need to work out for an hour and a half. The average person wants to lose body fat, wants to gain a little bit of muscle, and wants to feel fit. For that, a good, I would say 20 or 30 minute strength training, along with maybe 15 or 20 minutes of functional or circuit, followed by 5 minutes of core. If you don't want to do it separately, you can add it in your functional. And then 5 minutes of cool down is more than enough. See, again, when your goals are realistic and you take baby steps and you make them small and you achieve the smaller steps one at a time, it becomes more doable. Otherwise, the body says, yeah, okay, let's do it. 1 week it'll work out for an hour and a half. Suddenly, something else will come up and you'll lose track and you'll be like, yeah, can't do it. 1.5 hours, that's a lot. I really can't do it. I can't give you that kind of time. But 45 minutes to an hour, anybody can give. So yeah, I think an hour is, like when I do my online boot camps, our workout's exactly the same and we finish in an hour. We start with a warm-up. We do something called as activation. We have a strength element. We have a functional element. We have a core. And we finish that easily in an hour.
Again, I'm just going to go back to the question that I had about goal setting. So if you have 2 individuals, one who is generally dealing with a weight issue and one who maybe doesn't have a weight, who just wants to get fitter, you're suggesting the pattern stays the same for both in terms of...
Yes, pattern stays the same. The degree of each might change a little bit. So for someone who wants to lose a lot of weight, is obese, I would definitely tell them to... Again, the whole thing comes down to lifting heavy, but with good form. If that person is going to lift heavy, whether it's a guy or a girl, they are going to build muscle. That muscle is going to make them increase their metabolic rate, which is going to make them burn more energy throughout the day. And then, of course, the cardio. Maybe the person who is obese, for them, their main priority is weight loss. So I would probably tell them, take out another session, just go for a walk. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, just walk. And of course, working on the nutrition part as well. Somebody who just wants to be fit, 1 hour is more than enough, and you can incorporate all sorts of strength training. So the foundation or the baseline is constant. Everything above that keeps changing. So even though we say we're doing, like, say, for example, today's strength and we're doing a pushing workout, chest, shoulders, and tricep, one day can be body weight, one day can be weights, one day can be dumbbell, one day can be barbell, one day can be kettlebells, anything. But we're still targeting upper body. So that way the baseline stays the same, but on that what we do changes, because then now you're not giving your body a chance to adapt. Every day is a new workout and body just keeps on responding every single time.
Do you have a segregation of how you arrange these days for your clients? So in terms of upper body, lower body?
Even in the online one, we do, like I said, so it's Mondays push and functional, Tuesdays pull and functional, Wednesdays lower body, Thursday we do only stretching and mobility, Friday we do a full body strength workout, Saturday is mainly a full, nice, big, long functional workout, Sunday is rest. So that is how I kind of divide or make my workouts.
Okay. I want to ask you a little bit about, and I've spoken to you about this in our previous conversation, Shivoham, which is just about exercise intensity and about, achieving volitional fatigue. So for example, I mean, yoga could be a strength-based activity because you're dealing with your own weight, but someone who might need to lift a little more might not benefit from yoga. How do you think a person should identify whether a workout is giving them, is challenging enough for them to bring about results?
See, because if you're doing something and your body is not responding to change, then something has to be off. Now, it could be a couple of things. Either the workout that you're doing is making you feel good, but not forcing you to cause a change. Your nutrition may be a little bit off, because of which either you're not going up nor you're going down, you're just there. Could be your lifestyle in general. But of course, when we're looking at it, two major aspects is definitely the workout and the food. We cannot ignore the mental aspect as well. For someone to see results, they first need to be psychologically ready. They need to know what they want. And trust me, it's as simple with food. When you are aware of what you're eating, you will know when you're full. You will know when you're hungry. Eating a dinner and saying I get hungry at midnight is not hunger. That's just your body kind of playing around with the hormones, making you feel like it's hungry, but it's not hungry. Hunger. Hunger is when you don't eat for 2 days. That feeling is hunger. So people need to start identifying with these feelings. Sometimes they just give into that feeling because they've heard everybody say, yeah, I get hungry at midnight. I feel like, a snack. Because the whole world is saying it, you kind of tell yourself also, oh, maybe it's...
Yeah, it's a thing.
Maybe it's a thing. Maybe I am getting hungry. But dude, that's not hunger. Need to identify with those feelings and need to be aware of those feelings is a very big thing. So even with the workout, you will know when you are pushing yourself. Now, simple thing, if you want to lose weight and you're going to just keep on doing yoga or Pilates, it may not happen. Because firstly, with that kind of weight, you're not doing justice to the program anyways. What movements your teacher or your coach would want you to do in yoga, you're not going to be able to do it.
Okay.
Because again, it's body weight. How much can you move your body weight? You're not going to be doing the proper vinyasa flow. So you need to add the strength element of weights so that you can do bicep curls, you can do tricep movements, shoulder movement, chest movement, back movements, so that they can make your muscles stronger, and then maybe you can get better at that. Just because it's the most trending workout, just because your famous or your most idolized celebrity is doing a particular program, just because the marketing seems amazing, doesn't mean it's the right program for you.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone can lie to you, but you cannot lie to yourself. You will know, man, this is not for me. I need to do something more. So that will only happen when you allow your mind to be ease. If there's already so much going on, you will not be able to feel. Take some time, do it, feel it. Is it working? Is it not working? Move on.
So usually, when you tell someone to work on a fitness routine, the first thing they want to do is maybe look up for some classes that you join. So whether that's a spin class or a Zumba class or any class in the vicinity, a group class generally. What is your suggestion to people who maybe only take to activities like spinning as their thing or running as their thing or just Zumba as their thing? What do you think I'm missing? I mean, of course, we speak about strength training, which is the most essential aspect. But how would you educate them to build a better routine?
See, at the end of the day, as an activity, you do what makes you feel good. That's a start. For a lot of people, they can't even get off the couch to walk or join a spin class. So first step is just getting up and doing something which you like. That's the very big achievement by itself. Once that person has done that, if they genuinely care about health, wellness, then you got to look at it from a 360-degree view. You need to consider a morning routine of pranayams. You need to. There's no two ways about it. I mean, I've been doing it and I see some amazing changes. I feel that now my fitness routine is complete. Vrinda, she's taught me manifestation, or whether it's affirmations and it's pranayams, doing that morning stuff, then going and doing your weights, focusing on the food throughout the day. Now it's complete. Just training and just food is not complete. So and you should, it's not an if question, but you should be. I mean, who doesn't want to be healthy? Who doesn't want to be well? So if you truly want to be that, look at it from a 360-degree view. It's not going to take too much of your day to do that. But at the same time, there are a lot of people like, nah. I mean, they're just stubborn and they're like, this is all I can do. Okay, no problem. Start with this. Feel better. Then we'll see. I mean, we are, of course, here to show you what is the right stuff. After that, it is your choice. And see, at the end of the day, I've experienced it. You can only tell people and educate people, make them realize only so much. After that also, if they are still hell-bent on doing what they feel is right, but at least do some activity. Forget, don't do strength, don't do yoga, don't do anything, don't do breathing. But just for that basic health, very basic, nothing's going to come out of it. At least move.
I think just the knowledge or just the idea that fitness needs to, you need to speak about building muscle mass. I think just that conversation is still lacking in our industry. I still think there's a dominance on running, cycling, on cardio activity. So just the idea of, do you have a figure of, I think my client should have a body composition that looks like this. Do you have a chart like that? What do you think?
It all comes down to psychological.
Okay.
There is some reason they don't want to do weights.
Okay.
There is some reason they feel intimidated by walking into a gym. There is some reason that they feel, I'm not flexible, don't have a good body image, I don't want to be seen in a gym. That's why they'll probably go to Juhu Beach for a walk, they'll go somewhere else for a walk, they'll probably go to their building gym, do a treadmill, they'll probably just do something at home. At the end of the day, we don't know what somebody is going through in their mind. And unless and until we don't recognize and address that, getting and educating them is going to be pointless, because first you have to address what is it that's stopping you. So if I'm sitting with a client, I will of course tell them, and then I'll ask them what their limitations are, and I'll be like, why do you think that is a limitation? Why do you feel you don't have a confident body image? Let's work on that confidence at the same time. Yoga, what Vrinda does, from a holistic approach, that's where it begins. Is first identifying with people's fears. Once you identify with the person's fear, with your client's fear, then you're truly a coach, because then you can literally guide them, not just about losing weight, but actually getting them to overcome their fears. That's the real challenge. Lifting 100 kgs is not a big deal.
The last thing that I want to talk about is CrossFit, which of course you brought into our country. And the reason that I want to bring and talk to you about CrossFit specifically is because I think it finds place in our conversation today, because when I did my CFL1 certification, the one thing that I loved the most about the principles of CrossFit was that every person, whether you're an old person, a young person, an athlete, you have a general base fitness requirement in each aspect.
Correct.
So you need a certain level of everything, whether that's flexibility, conditioning, everything. So I think that, in a way, I think that kind of summarizes our conversation today, which is what do you need from your fitness routine? What do you think about CrossFit that's most beneficial for people?
I absolutely swear by CrossFit. I mean, I'm so glad that I found CrossFit, not for anything else, but for the kind of structure it has. And I'm not talking about the new CrossFit. I'm actually talking about when CrossFit started. It was very simple, very basic, but it had all the elements in it. Today, I don't do CrossFit, but I do movements from CrossFit because I absolutely love the muscle ups. I love the cleans, kettlebells. I do all of that. But at the same time, I as a coach have also understood that CrossFit is not for everyone. You have to train your client based on their temperament. Their temperament is not of CrossFit, don't give them CrossFit. Give them movements of basic strength training, structure it like CrossFit if you want. Whereas there are a lot of people who absolutely love CrossFit, their temperament is for it, go, go, go. At the same time, we are not athletes anymore. Athletes have an entire team behind them. They've got physios, they've got masseurs, they've got nutritionists. Today they've got all the gadgets and everything. Back in the day, there was nothing. So also to realize that I am not 20 anymore. I cannot train with the same intensity I used to. I need to be okay with that and adapt to that as well. But at the same time, like you said, CrossFit, it has a strength aspect. It has everything in it. It has flexibility, it has cardio, it has everything. And it can be tailored to no matter who the person is. That's the beauty about the program. But everything has to evolve. Everything, when it starts, cannot be the end of all of everything. It has to evolve from there.
Anything else that you think needs to be discussed in this conversation, Shivoham, about just finding what your ideal routine should look like?
I think that's what we kind of started with, is setting your priorities, knowing your priorities, what you want to do, setting a realistic goal. Take small steps at a time. Don't try to jump too many, steps at once, and be patient. I mean, you're trying to change your body. The slower and more consistently you change it, the longer the results will last with you. Yes, there are 3-month transformations and all of that, but those transformations don't ever last. I would say 90% of the people will be successful in a 3-month transformation. Maybe only 10% will be able to maintain that throughout their life. So getting there is not the problem. Maintaining is what requires the hard work. From the start, do something which is going to give you results slowly rather than a quick fix.
Okay, lovely chatting
Super.
with you as usual. Thank you for your time,
Thank
Shivoham.
you. Thank you.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.